What up, what up, what up, though, everybody? What's happening, beautiful people? We back at it again with the back at it again. Hello. How y'all doing? Listen, I got that was happening because I have now I've dated a few of NO people in my way back past. And one in particular, if you run across my channel, this might tickle him, but every time he got around his brothers or loved ones, they would always go, "Was happening?" And I just thought that was just the cutest way to greet somebody. So I just thought it was nice to just add it into the intro. But anyway, was happening, beautiful people? Y'all, we back at it. Episode 4. We in that thing. We in that thing. We legit now. We up and running. We're running smoother than a radiator. Anywho, welcome back to the Eyam Queen Podcast. Round of applause, round of applause. Yup. We back in it. Yup. I need to stop saying that. I got that shit from that Nature Boy doc. I need to stop saying Europe. But anyway, I think it's a New York thing, so. But I'm your host with the most, AJ, aka A Dub. You already know what the fuck going on. I don't know why I just love when gorillas say that. it just validates her intro. Yeah, you already know what the fuck going on. I'm gonna start saying that. It's just funny to me. It just tickles me. But anywho, y'all, first things first, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How was your week? Be sure to put your answers down below in the comment section. You already know I like engagement. I like, this is a safe space. I'm hoping that this channel gets so busy that we transition over into a Discord, because I really want to like have a strong community of people, that we just, we learn from one another. We kiki, we build a whole, community going on and what have you. And so, and just a safe space where we can lay our hair down, whether you're a man, a woman, whatever, that this is just a really good safe space, for people like us, But yes, this space is where we blend. You already know, spirituality with practicality, growth with common sense, and as always, with a sprinkle of love. Okay? Here, we believe in prayer and meditation, Jesus and therapy. Yes. Sage, and y'all already know your homegirl is an advocate for having a good nap. Come on, somebody. Turn to your neighbor and say, naps are good when you're an adult. Listen, I could have been laid up in the bed back here, but I decided to get here and be here with you, and you. So I said, you know what? No, we're going to do episode 4 now. We're going to do episode 4 now. And y'all want to know? Before we talk about episode 4. So back to how was your week? Mine, y'all, the job be jobbing. And I'm going to keep saying that until God release. No shade. But Lord, I'm in a stage of my life where I'm transitioning in a lot of aspects of my life. Transitioning from relationships, from job dynamics, just a lot of transitioning, and it could get draining. It could get heavy some days, but I think what puts me in the best kind of space is really connecting with you guys and like coming on here, doing my content. I get life. Like I get all hyped up. Usually I'm like I don't know. I need to figure out what that new word is when you're like an introvert, but you're like, but an extrovert. Like, I forgot there's a new term for that where you're like a little bit of both. But like when I'm not on here, or when I'm not interacting, or I'm not on social media, I'm really a recluse. Like I love to just be wrapped up in my blanket watching The Last Airbender on YouTube. If you haven't, not YouTube, I'm sorry, Netflix. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. Yeah, I like watching my Avatar. If I'm not watching Avatar, I'm probably watching a House of Dragons. I'm watching some fantasy. I'm watching something very, very, it's giving nerd. It's giving L7. I'm okay with being a square. I've accepted it. I'm okay with that. I'd rather be a square than something else. Okay. So yeah, so it's just been, I'd rather just be a recluse. So, but I love being here with y'all. And hopefully, I hope that you love me being here with y'all as well. But anywho, so let's get into it. So I thought, since we are on a roll, episode 4 of it all, I thought that we would talk about something, because everybody like to talk about relationships, relationship dynamics or whatever. And I was like, you know what? It ain't above me to tap on relationship dynamics, in the spiritual and the how to make it realistic, if you will. But a lot of people don't touch on the other side of it all. Everybody pointing fingers. Is their fault? Is his fault? Is she's fault? Is they fault? Is everybody's fault? Rather than understanding each side of the dynamic. So today I thought we would talk about realizing that you can't love someone into correctly loving you. Is that not a bar? Is that not a bar? You cannot love somebody into correctly loving you. You just can't. You cannot handhold, guide, babysit, or wait for somebody to show up for you in the way that you prefer. It's a disservice to you. Number one, it is putting you in a position where you are going to settle for some bullshit. I'm going to be honest. You're going to be settling for some bullshit. Because you don't have to. Now, granted, everybody got different love languages. Everybody has different levels of toleration. Everybody require different things. Understandable. But to submit yourself to be waiting on someone to love you in a way that aligns with you, you are going to be setting yourself up for a very long, harsh, knockout, drag out seasons. You're going to be waiting for a mighty long time. And it may be the whole experience, but we'll do a deep dive into that. So let's start here. Sometimes healing look like, healing happens in various ways. You can heal by, like me, I love I like to exercise now. That's part of my lifestyle. So weight training is part of my ministry. Sometimes healing look like therapy. Sometimes healing look like crying in your car. But when you healing, you can't heal for people. One thing that I've learned in my spiritual walk is that spirituality is a carved lane and path for yourself. And I'm going to keep saying it over and over and over. Maybe not every episode, but you get my point. It's really meant for you. And why is spirituality a carved path for you? Because it's a path that only you can walk, only you can withstand. And it's so important to understand that you can't heal for people. That's why you cannot handhold and guide people into loving you in the best possible way. People have to be able to love you from their own capacity. And that is just the reality. It may be a harsh reality for some, but it's the truth. People can only love you from their well, whatever that, whether if it's full, half empty, or don't have no water in it at all. People cannot love you surpass their own capabilities. And so when you have the highest expectation for people to love you the way that you prefer or the way that your heart desire, you setting yourself up for failure. You setting yourself up to be hurt. You setting yourself up to be misunderstood. You setting yourself up to not be seen. You setting yourself up to not be loved the way that your heart desire. You can't heal people with the hopes that they're going to pour into you, love into you, show up for you. In all honesty, you are cheapening yourself. You are devaluing yourself. Some of us have been shopping for love at an emotional Dollar Tree. Let's be real. Let's be real. And I know I have. Some of us get into a state of, and also trigger warning. This is one of them episodes that's probably going to trigger the shit out of you. But I mean everything that I'm saying with love, and I hope you receive it as such. But I want you to understand, I can't talk about nothing I've never lived, and I can't talk about nothing I've never experienced, and I can't talk about nothing I don't know nothing about. And this right here, I know a lot about. What I mean about shopping at an emotional Dollar Tree, a lot of us fall into a state of fear and desperation. And I even throw loneliness in there too. When you are in what a spiritualist would say, a low vibrational state, you are drawing in only of that. So if you are in a state of fear, nobody's never going to love you. Nobody's ever going to see you. Nobody's ever going to care about you. If you're trying to find love out of desperation, this is as good as it's going to get. Nobody ain't going to never love me the way that I see for myself. I just got to tolerate whatever I got going on. When you are loving out of loneliness, I'm afraid that nobody going to take me and all my kids. I'm afraid that nobody's going to be able to take me and my condition. Nobody is not going to love me because in your mind, you've already counted yourself out. You've already discarded yourself. I want you to know that you are shopping, or you have gotten some things out of an emotional Dollar Tree. You keep expecting premium treatment from people you find at a discount store. You are not going to find, and don't get me wrong, homegirl love a good Five Below. I love Dollar Tree. I love Family Dollar. I shop at them stores. I'm here for a bang for a buck. But let's be real. Trying to manifest, is that a new word I just made? If you're trying to manifest a love, or you're in a relationship or a situationship that reflects cheapening experiences, meaning you're not getting all that you've put in. You getting $5 or less, if that. You're getting that type of treatment. People will treat you the way they see you. So if you're constantly showing up with a cheapening value of yourself, how you think people are going to treat you? How you think people are going to show up? They're not. Why would they? Everybody wants something that, what is it? Work smart, not hard. Most people want to experience things or gain things that they don't have to put much effort in. And that's the world we live in. So treating love as if it is a construction project and you're the only person that's putting in all the work is crazy. As the kids would say, that's diabolical. And I know about it because I've done it. I know what it's like trying to find someone to love you, but you have a cheapened value of yourself. And maybe you're not aware of this. Maybe you think that, I'm just unlovable. No, nobody is just unlovable. Everybody is lovable. Everybody is worthy. Since the time you was born, were you given that experience? Not everybody was blessed with that experience to feel loved, to feel worthy, to feel valued. And so when you have those holes inside of yourself, what are you going to do? You're going to go outside of self. And your value of yourself is cheapened. And so what are you going to do? You're not going to feel worthy going into Neiman Marcus. You're not going to go into high expensive stores. No. You're going to go to Five Below for your person. You're going to go. And what I mean is, there are people that have umpteen thousand apps, dating apps. There are people out there that have Facebook dating sites. They are, jumping from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next. I know I was a grasshopper. And so you're constantly trying to find people to pour into you, to love you, to see you, but you don't see yourself. And that's the problem. You don't see yourself. You don't see the value in yourself. And so what happens? You're constantly getting people who do not see the value in you. Because in their mind, why should I see the value in you when you said you was just going to love me for free? That's just like somebody showing up. Let's be real. If somebody showed up and gave you $1 million today and said, there is nothing that comes with this. It's for free. You owe me nothing. Here's $1 million. Live your best life. You mean to tell me the majority is not going to take it? Now, you might be a little bit reluctant. You might be a little bit like, I don't know what all that comes with it. But you mean to tell me you're not going to consider it? How many people do you know is going to turn down $1 million in this economy? No, ain't nobody turning that shit down. People got grown people bills. People got insurance. And mind you, let this sink in. Those of us that would take the $1 million, are you going to be thinking about the other person? You're not. You're not going to be thinking how taking $1 million is going to affect the person that's giving it to you. You just going to take the money because you're thinking about all the things that you need to do with that money. Now, although $1 million don't really mean shit in this economy, I'm just saying, but just an analogy, hypothetically. And to be real, you're not going to consider how the other person feels if they just gave you $1 million. So if you was to think of it from that perspective and compare it to pouring into somebody, showing up for somebody that have not earned your love, guess what? They're going to take it. And they're going to keep taking you for advantage because you allow it. I believe that you can love people unconditionally. You can love people unconditionally. You can. There are people that I love. If I love you, I'm the type of person, if I love you, trust and believe, I'm always love you. I'm always love you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That's not a person that I've never told that I love that I still don't love. However, does that mean that that person is what's best for me? No. Why? Because I love myself more. I love myself so much that I'm not willing to tolerate and settle for some bullshit. I done went through so much that for me personally, I'm not willing to wait and see if somebody's going to be able to love me past their own capacity. I'm not. We either align or we don't. So if you're the type of person, if you've been Bob the Builder, holding it down, praying, weighing in the water, hoping, wishing, praying, doing love spells, no shade, but let's get into it. Cause some people love to do that little sprinkle with the hopes that, yeah, this person gonna be mine. Are they? You want somebody that don't see you for you, and you want them to love you outside of their own will? Okay. So if you've been doing all the building, repairing, forgiving, hoping, having all this grace, when you have none for yourself, you need to ask yourself whether you are in a relationship or you in a volunteership. You need to ask yourself what kind of experience you are in, or that you are willing to put yourself in, because there's a lot of work that need to be done in the inside. There's some shit that you need to address, because more than likely you are looking for love in all the wrong Five Belows. I'm telling you, you're not gonna get, because I used to be like that. I used to be the type of person where I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna be with this person, it's gonna work, or what I'm saying, I have all these fantasies and thinking about how things are gonna work, and I'm not just being realistic. I'm not being honest with myself. Or I'm in a relationship and I'm constantly gaslighting myself, knowing that I'm not even getting the bare minimum. So, and I get it. Yeah, I know what you're asking. Well, how do you know you're in a unbalanced relationship? How do you know you're in a one-sided relationship? Or how do you know that you are aligning yourself with emotional, unavailable people? I thought you would never ask. Number one, you doing all the emotional labor. Hello, I know I'm in somebody's front door with this one. You doing all the emotional labor. You yourself, you the one that's constantly showing up for that person. You the one that doing all the calling, all the planning. When they're having a bad day, you scratching their head, you asking them how their day went, you running their shower, you being overly considerate in arguments, you always considering their side. But when it comes to you get breadcrumb. They're so committed to their side, they lack understanding for your perspective. They don't even care that they hurt your feelings. Like, you are holding them down, but they don't have nothing for you. And anytime you have a bad day, anytime you are stressed out, anytime that you are tired, weary, wounded, and worn out, they ain't got nothing for you. They ain't even got a pet on the head, because you've made yourself become this force to be reckoned with. You've made yourself become, I got it. I don't need nobody. I'm just strong. So you supposed to be the suck it up buttercup. Also, you're the one that's making all the initiatives when it comes to being intimate. You're the one that's trying to have all the tough conversations. You're the one that's trying to, you constantly seeing them. But when it comes to you, you're not being seen. You're not being heard, and you're not being considered in real life. To the point where you feel lonely. To the point where you feel like you are lonely. You are just in this relationship, or you're in this situationship, and it's just you. But you hoping and praying, and you going down to the people churches and ask for God to restore or to change. How about maybe this is just the reality? Maybe this is how this person choose to be, or maybe how this person, that's all they got. Because keep in mind, people come in with their own shit. People come in with their own dynamics. You don't know how people been brought up. You know, you know what they told you, but you don't really know the effects of the trauma or whatever that they have dealt with long before you got with them or ever was considered. So maybe they don't have the capacity to see you because maybe they don't see themselves. Maybe they lack a sense of awareness. Maybe they don't have the bandwidth or the reach of empathy and understanding. Maybe they have just enough for themselves because that was their survival mechanism. You're constantly making excuses for their behavior. Let me tell you, ain't nothing worse than being in a relationship or a connection or situationship and you just making all these excuses. You done told your good girlfriend, your good guy friend, or whomever what you going through. And then when they're like trying to validate you, you constantly, oh no, they didn't mean it like that. Oh no, see what had happened was they really meant this, but they did this. No, it's a that. It's a that. It's a that. If you're not being considered, you're not being considered. If this person is half-assing, it's half-assing. If, for instance, if they needed lunch money and you gave them their last $20, but then when you needed lunch money, they complaining or they cash app you $5. But then you like, nah, because see, this person got X, Y, and Z. They got all this. Okay, but what about you? Ain't you living life too? When you constantly showing up for somebody and they're not showing up for you, that needs to be evaluated. That needs to be seriously assessed. When you find yourself shrinking, or let me double back to that point. If you find yourself in a situation where you're constantly going over to other people's houses, like they're like they can't show up for you when it comes to things that's going on in your life, but you constantly showing up for them. But you making excuses for it. Oh, well, they had to work overtime, so they decided to stay home and sleep. But you got a job and you work too. What that mean? You got to make compromise. You got to make sacrifice and compromise. That's what relationship takes. So if you're doing all the compromising and you doing all the sacrificing, but you done made this comfortable for this person, how's that fair? How's that fair to you? Back to the point. You're shrinking yourself to keep the relationship. How many of y'all, and let's just be honest here. Hold on. You ain't know I had tea right there, huh? In my fairy Harry Potter mug. How many of y'all have been around people, been in relationship dynamics, and you felt like you had to shrink yourself? Whether you knew this or not, whether you're consciously aware of this or not, you constantly dimming yourself. We get around people, they start talking, you be quiet. But then when you start talking, they cut you off. You start sharing your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, whatever, they check out. But when it comes to them, you got to be overly attentive, overly concerned. That's somebody that has a mother or father wound. That is somebody that is siphoning energy from you that they have not got as a child. And they're hoping that you're going to heal them. And you're doing the exact same thing, except you are being the sacrificial lamb and they're not. When you have to make yourself feel small, dumb, less creative, right there tells you that the relationship, the scales are unbalanced. The scales are not balanced at all. There is no my ought being practiced. When peace can only exist when you are silent, when you are walking on eggshells and you are not able to share your thoughts, your feelings, or anything, because if you do, there's going to cause some type of an argument, some type of confusion. If you go to your person or your situation person, whatever it is, and you trying to share to them, you didn't like something, and they just get all hyper vigilant, hyper defensive, more than likely you're in an unbalanced relationship. More than likely. And then you're over talking, you're constantly trying to redirect, and it's getting you nowhere, to the point you just doing this, you're just in a cycle. It's an unbalanced situation. If that person is not willing to consider, even if they don't even agree with you, at the minimum, if they're not considering your feelings, but you find yourself having to coach, guide, lead, prayer meetings, Zoom calls. We got to meet up here just to, so you're doing too much. That person, A, don't care. B, don't have the capacity. They don't have the capacity. And that's why I say you cannot love somebody into loving you correctly. You cannot. You can either love that person where they are, or you can get out. You can get out that person's way, because people don't change for people. I don't care what nobody told you. They lied. People don't change for people. And I know. I mean, and it may seem a little biased, but from my experience, from what I done seen, from what I done read, and not just off of TikTok, because homegirl is a real life scholar. I love to read. People don't change for people. People change when they are ready. And just because you believe that this person should love you in a certain way that you prefer, don't mean that that person is getting ready to meet you where you are. And so you just have to either accept where they are with it, or sayonara. So what do you do if you are in an unbalanced relationship, or where you're in a, because some people are married, some people are in long lasting relationships, and they probably don't want to give up on that person. I totally understand. I've been there. However, here's what you can do, or some tips to help you to get to a place of balance. Believe the patterns over the promises. If you know that you've been in a constant cycle where you're dating the same person in a different meat suit, and or you've been in a relationship with somebody and ain't shit changed, meaning they still get mad at you for you speaking your mind about certain things, or they get hyper defensive if you mention anything or give constructive criticism. If there's just been a roundabout, same old same, you got to see things for what it is. You have to accept it for what it is. Waiting around for stuff to change is not going to make anything change. Sometimes walking away can be the catalyst. And even so, then you still got to discern whether or not you are willing to subjugate yourself to some people's bullshit. And I'm not trying to minimize nobody when I say bullshit, but I say bullshit because if you are really in tune with yourself, if you're really tapped in with yourself, other people's shit is it should be considered bullshit. Because that's not your shit. You got to believe it. You got to receive it. You got to know for what it is. Don't call it a peacock if it's a damn duck. It's a duck. Pour into yourself. Start pouring into yourself. Start knowing that a lot of us, and I keep saying it, I'm going to keep saying it over and over. Now, maybe not every video, but you know what I'm saying. You have to learn to self-preserve. You have to learn to validate yourself. You have to start learning to give to yourself. Whatever you didn't receive as a child, Whatever you didn't receive as a teenager, whatever you didn't receive as a young adult, it is your responsibility. It is your responsibility. That is your burden. That is your cross you must bear. It's nobody else's. If you start pouring in yourself, I promise you, you're going to start seeing things differently. You're going to start considering, like, wait a minute, this experience may not be what's best for me, because I know me and I don't like this shit. You need to start pouring into yourself so you can tap in, lock in with yourself. And that way, when you pour into yourself, you're building and actualizing a great relationship with yourself. You are fostering a solid foundation within yourself. And when you do that, you then know what you're willing to tolerate and what you're not. Now, some people is willing to tolerate more than others. More power to you. But at the end of the day done end. It gotta end. So you can start by pouring into yourself by prioritizing your feelings, your emotions, honoring your emotions. If you feel disrespected, you disrespect it. Start loving on yourself. Start taking time out for yourself. Self-care is the best care. Start speaking life into yourself. You know, if you're with somebody and you're constantly giving, and you're not really giving back to yourself, what's going to end up happening, you're going to be a shell or a husk of yourself, to the point you won't be willing to recognize who you are. And let me tell you, that ain't the best space to be in when you constantly shelling, you're a shell or a husk. Your family don't recognize you, your kids don't recognize you, you're just a puppet. Can I be your puppet? I don't know why that song came to me, but set healthy boundaries. A lot of people stay in situationships or relationships or marriages or whatever longer than they should, because they don't have, not only because they lack self-awareness and they may not be as emotional intelligent, but primarily it is because they don't have healthy boundaries in place. They didn't have it in the beginning. Healthy boundaries is the gatekeeping. When you gatekeep against yourself, you are then allowing people to have to earn access to you and your love. So therefore, the prerequisites are already there. The prerequisites is already there. There are standards there. Policies and procedures are already in place. Ethical laws are already there. You can't come to me any old kind of way. You got to go through a vetting process before you even get cross stage 1. I need to see your references. I need to know you legit. I need to know that you are capable of holding space. I need to know that you are able and willing and committed to understanding other people besides yourself. And it took me a long time. A lot of bruises to the head. Not literally, figuratively, but you get what I'm saying. It took a long time for me to get to the point where I had to start taking myself serious. When you have healthy boundaries in place, you are branding yourself and you're letting the world know, don't play with me. You can't play with me. Before you fuck with me, you gotta do something different for me, baby. You gotta be different. Show me something different. And it's not just about showing up financially, because what you can do, I've already done. And if I haven't done it, trust and believe I'm going to get there. So it has nothing to do with that at all. Healthy boundary setting is really putting pillars there for you. If you don't have no boundaries, I'm telling you, you're going to tolerate any old thing. And then you're going to tolerate it for a longer periods of time than you should have. I know, because I've lived it. Nobody has taught me to set healthy boundaries as a kid. So when I tell you that I've had really horrible experiences because there was no boundaries, there was no bottom lines, people was treating me like a doormat, maybe even worse than a doormat, and I've allowed it because I didn't understand that you can say no. And saying no does not mean you're a bad person. Saying that you're not going to tolerate something does not mean that you don't have no resilience and you give up. Some people misconstrued like loyalty because they think that loyalty should come at a expense of yourself, and it shouldn't. You should never align yourself or be with somebody who is putting you in a space where you have to overcompensate in order for them to be present. If you have to do a whole lot to keep somebody around, then you need to ask yourself why. Get to the bottom of it. I promise you, it'll change your life. Which is a good segue point to stop abandoning yourself to keep someone else comfortable. Anytime, what is abandoning yourself? Anytime you prioritize somebody else's feelings, somebody else, period, you are abandoning yourself. And I know abandoning sounds so like a reach. It sounds so traumatic, but it's really like that because over time, constantly putting other people before you, where do you think you stand in that dynamic? You are getting further and further and further behind. You're being further left behind. And remember that $1 million analogy, they not worried. They don't, because they think you good. Some people assume that you are good this way because they met you that way. You didn't have no boundaries in place. You already you tolerated the first doggone, whatever that happened. And then you kept tolerating it. So then what happened? You abandoned yourself. All in the name of somebody loving you. It sounds wild and, as the kids will say, diabolical that you would just put somebody above you to only be breadcrumb just a little bit. But I get it. Some people feel like breadcrumbing is better than no crumb at all. But I'm here to tell you, no, it ain't. Because, baby, if you like me, if you don't went through the struggle, then you understand. Once you believe you the whole motherfucking enchilada, I'm the whole enchilada. I'm a thick, fluffy girl. To fuck? What? Honey, baby, boo boo. You can't breadcrumb me. Because, first of all, I ain't even finna let you play with my food like that, let alone me. And that ain't no shade to me. I'm just being real. I'm not finna let you play with my money or my food, let alone me. Back in the day, yeah, I was tolerating some bullshit because, again, I didn't know no better. But as Marty Ma would say, the day of the Geechee is over. What? You got to stop abandoning yourself. It's nothing worse than if you were the type of person where you look good, you was you had dreams, goals, aspirations, all the things, and all of a sudden, slowly but surely, you start putting this person goals in the front, their dreams in the forefront. You following along with they plan. The plan is they make it while you just sit back and watch them grow. Huh? You just the caretaker. You're the nurturer. While this person gets to flourish as an individual. And you just stay in the background. Now, some people is okay with that. To each his own. I'm not knocking you. But I'm speaking for the people that I'm getting ready to release tonight. I'm speaking for those that is on some type of, we ain't on that type of time no more, because it don't work for me. It don't work for me personally. I had to release myself from a long relationship recently. I had to release myself, and it still gets difficult. It still gets hard. Because like I said, once I love you, I'm going to forever love you. But one thing about me, I don't play about me at all. I ain't no half stepping over here. So, Eyam Queen reality check. You cannot build a healthy relationship with someone when it's just you with all the tools. You cannot build a healthy relationship when it's just you being Bob the Builder. If you the one doing all the work and that person ain't have to do shit and they just lounging around, it's not worth it. You have to understand. You have to understand. Excuse me if my background is loud. I'm in my room, so excuse me. I don't know if y'all may or may not hear, but But at the end of the day, you cannot build a relationship just by yourself. Even when you're in a relationship, what makes it that much more worse. Love is a partnership. Love is where you two people volunteer to show up, but also being able to compromise, understand, fully being able to hear each other. You're not going to agree with everything, but it should not come at an over compromise and you over giving, you overcompensating for what you didn't have within yourself. When that starts to happen, I'm telling you, you are in a solo relationship. And it to each his own, to those that feel like half a man or half a girl is better than nobody. But she, me, her ain't, we not doing that. For me, like I said, I'm thick. I had to say it like Beyonce, I'm thick. But if I don't play, listen, and if you know, if you the type of person, if you ain't gonna let nobody play with your money, if you ain't gonna let nobody just take off in your car, if you got boundaries for your personal belongings, if you got boundaries when it comes to your kids, if you got boundaries for whatever you got boundaries in your life, then why you don't have boundaries with yourself? Really think about that. Why you don't have boundaries for yourself? Why are you tolerating experiences that is out of alignment with yourself? You need to ask yourself, are you being loved truly? Or are you being seen? Are you being tolerated? Are you being taken advantage of? Or better yet, are you allowing yourself to be taken advantage of? And that was a hard pill for me to swallow. But I had to accept it because there have been lots of cases where if I'm dating the same person or I'm with the same person in a different meat suit, then we got to ask ourselves, what is going on? More than likely, the problem is you. If you're really looking at it from a you perspective. Do you feel emotionally safe? Can you go to this person and really lay it all there? Can this person see your angel and your demon? If you go to this person right now, whoever this person is, and you're trying to talk to them and it's just not registering. They're committed to their side of the bed. Or if you're having a bad day, can they recognize it? Can they see that you're having a bad day? Or do they just go by their day? Now, granted, life be lifing. Sometimes life be lifing so bad that you can't see the other side of the bed. But that don't mean like you just keep going, Obviously, when you're in a partnership, you have to develop thick skin and being able to consider all sides. If you are a type of selfish person where you only see one side, I suggest you don't get nobody's relationship because you're going to get ready to do some damage. But if you're the type of person who's always considering the other side and not yourself, then I suggest you don't get no relationship because then again, you still putting yourself on the back burner. And then you need to ask yourself this. If you had a friend or a best friend that was going through what you might be going through or might be experiencing, what advice would you give to them? What would you tell this person? And you can only be honest with yourself. You can only be honest with yourself. So, again, you can't outsource love. The only way that you're going to be able to experience a healthy love is when you are healthy within yourself. But waiting for somebody to grow up, to grow into the person, to see their potential, I'm telling you, it's like watching wet paint dry. And even so, then there still might be marks on the walls or the ceiling. So what is the point in all that? Here is some affirmations that I would like to leave with you. I'm going to leave the affirmations down below. You can screenshot them, copy and paste, whatever you prefer. Affirmations have done me wonders. So I'm trying to build up a habit where I leave affirmations within my podcast episode, because maybe this will help you on your journey. Affirmations have definitely helped me rewire my thinking. And to this day, I have affirmations everywhere within my house, everywhere you can think of. I have affirmations because I need constant reminders of who she is. Hello. All right. I release the need to earn love. Love does not have to come at an expense of your happiness, your peace of mind, your joy. Are you going to have days with your person? Of course. But should it be an insufferable experience? No, it shouldn't. Suffering is optional. I deserve consistency, honesty, respect, and peace. You do. Consistency should not come at a price where you are overgiving and overly redirecting somebody to understand what consistent is. Honesty, because I believe people are going to do what people are going to do anyway. Honesty should be integral. It should align with integral beliefs. Respect should be always prioritized. Peace. Peace of mind over everything is everything. If you know, you know. I choose myself without guilt. Why should you feel guilty for being human? Why should you feel bad because you have feelings too, and that you care to recognize yours? I trust my intuition. You should. Everybody has intuition. Not everybody use it. Some people is afraid of their intuition. I don't think you should be. Once I tapped in spiritually and I started walking my spiritual walk, I'm so glad that I realized how intuitive I am. Because I'm telling you, you get to a point where you don't even care about that. I don't need to see the end result. I don't need all the answers. I don't need proof. I don't need all the answers. At this point, it's a duck. It ain't a goddamn peacock, and I ain't finna make it a peacock because I intuitively feel this way. If you follow your first mind, you won't get deterred into the wrong direction. I am no longer confused. I'm no longer confusing potential with character. That is a bar. No, you should not confuse potential. Just because everybody has potential, but not everybody's going to get there. Not everybody's going to surpass it, let alone get there. So you have to see people for where they are. If, like the saying goes, if a person show you the first time who they choose to be, or who they are, believe them. Believe them. Don't gaslight yourself and make excuses because they wasn't loved. Because they mama wasn't around. Because they daddy wasn't around. This is why okay, what they got to do with you though? That's above your pay grade. That is above your pay grade. Everybody is responsible for their own healing. I release relationships that require self-abandonment, as you should. I release relationships that require self-abandonment, as you should. You should not want to stay tied to people who don't mind you not giving a damn about yourself. Because more than likely, they don't care about you. They only care for what you can do for them and who you can be for them. They got issues. Be above your pay grade. So it don't make sense for you to keep tolerating relationships that require you to stay in the back. My love is a gift, not a bargaining chip. You should make some people earn access to you. You should want to make people earn. If you are a great person, a phenomenal person, if you're the best of the best, if you're an amazing person, then that means you should make it that much more harder for people to get near you, shouldn't it? Think about it like this. Riddle me this. If you treated yourself like a job, why would you allow people that have no credentials, no background. They can't be vetted. They have no references. They just show up and said, I just want a job. Why would you let this person in? Why would you let this person be around you? If you know that even if you try to go to, especially one of them good high paying jobs, they not finna play with them people like that. They not finna just be taking applications and just like, yeah, we finna hire this person because they had the best application. No, you got to get vetted, strongly vetted. You got to have some strong references. I need to know who you are and what you want. So if you know that you got amazing love, the kind of love that is very healing and therapeutic, then you should not cheapen the value of your love by allowing people to be in your space that have not earned it. Hello. I attract emotionally healthy relationships, as you should. The only way you're going to start attracting healthy relationships is if you're healthy. If you're not healthy, more than likely, you're not attracting no healthy relationship. I know people think that, but I'm telling you, you're not attracting no healthy relationship if you're not healthy. If you're not healed, I promise you, you're going to have an unhealed, unrequited love to some degree. I cannot love someone into correctly loving me, but I can love myself enough to walk away. Is that not unconditional love? Listen, I think I said it before earlier. I believe in unconditional love. I believe that you can unconditionally love somebody. If I'm the type of person, if I love you, I'm gonna love you forever. I can say that with my chest. Everybody I've ever loved, I still love. But do I love them enough to have allowed myself to have stayed? Do I love myself? Do I love them so much that I'm willing to stay into some bullshit that I know that is destroying me from the inside out? Do I love them enough to where I don't even have nothing for my kids? Do I love them enough where I don't even have nothing for my purpose? I don't have nothing for my dreams, my goals, my aspirations. Do I love them enough to allow them to experience a love that I know that is unhealthy? My answer, me personally, hell no. No, baby. I love you with all my heart, but I'm not about to sell myself out and cheapen myself for some what? Bullshit. I'm not. I love myself way too much. And I'm happy. And I can look back in hindsight 2020. I'm grateful for all the experiences that I've had, because one thing it has done, it has strengthened me so much so, not to the point where I'm cold and that I'm not open to love and I'm not open to, the most healthiest kind of experience. But at the same time, I'm telling you now, baby, I'm a thick girl. I'm thick and fluffy in all the right places. And listen, I don't play about my money. I don't play with my food, and I don't play with me. To each his own. Because some people play about their food and some people play about their money and some people play about their car. I don't play about none of that shit. So for me, I don't give a, I'm the type of person, I don't care how long I've known you. I don't care how long I've known you. Because some people be willing to invest into relationship dynamics that have ran its course solely because, for whatever reason, and there's many reasons, but they're willing to overly stay because they may feel like this is as good as it gets. They may believe that, they love me, they mean well, they just don't know no better. I say, fuck all that. Baby, if I'm the whole enchilada and you just the chip, that's what we got. That's where you got me messed up. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It ain't above me to leave your ass. It ain't above me to leave your ass. And it's not because I'm not a ride or die. It's not because I'm not resilient. It's not because, oh, I'm easy to throw in the towel. No, I've been through some shit. No, my resilience is top tier. My resilience is top tier. I know how to weather the storm. I know how to make things work. But what I'm unwilling to do is overcompensate my peace of mind and happiness for less than what I deserve. We not doing that over here. Oh no. Mm-mm. I will love you and walk away from you before I ever tolerate less than I deserve ever again. And that's my ministry. That is my ministry. So in closing, I want you guys to remember, healing isn't about becoming someone else. Healing is not about being overly flexible. It's not about giving up and as some people would say, letting the devil win, or getting in your own way. It is about coming home to who God created you to be. It is acknowledging who you are and who you're meant to be, and not at the expense of love or someone else. Protect your peace. Honor your boundaries. Trust your intuition. And remember, never, ever settle for a love that requires you to abandon yourself. Y'all be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Until next time, like, share, and subscribe to your Homegirls Podcast. We out.